And now, it's the 2K Online Franchise Sports Report with your host Marcus Reed and Ava Turner.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to 2K Online Franchise Radio Network. You are locked in with me, Marcus Reed.
And I'm Ava Turner.
As always, and we are ready to break down some serious talent for tonight's draft.
Oh, yeah.
Season 31, guys, just hours away, 7 p.m. Pacific. The future of these franchises is about to change forever.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, Marcus, this rookie class has got me buzzing. We've been poring over scouting reports, film combine results, all of it. I can confidently say we got some future stars in the making, especially at those key positions.
Okay, so let's get down to business.
Okay.
We got 5 prospects we absolutely have to talk about.
Right.
2 quarterbacks with completely different paths to the draft. Tanner Pittman out of Arkansas and Eric Parra from Liberty.
Very different.
Then there's Jerry Haywood, the cornerback everyone's calling a lockdown defender.
Yeah.
Daniel Quinn, the edge rusher, who's a nightmare for QBs. And Andrew Stevens, the left tackle, who's built like a tank.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head, Marcus. These 5 players are generating the most buzz, and for good reason. They're potential game changers.
Potential game changers at their position.
At their positions.
All right, so let's kick things off with Tanner Pittman, the quarterback out of Arkansas.
Let's do it.
Ava, you and I were talking about this earlier. This guy has generational talent buzz around him.
Oh, yeah.
Can he live up to the hype?
It's certainly possible, Marcus. You look at his arm, it's a cannon.
Yeah.
But it's not just about power. What impresses me is his accuracy, especially on those deep throws. We're not just talking about chucking it deep and hoping for the best days. Pittman consistently puts the ball right where it needs to be, 40, 50 yards downfield. That kind of precision is rare, even at the NFL level.
And when you combine that with his athleticism,
right,
things get really interesting. I mean, a 4.68 40-yard dash at the combine.
Yeah.
That's moving for a guy his size.
Right. And those vertical and broad jump numbers, 30.9 inches and 9'4", respectively, tell you he's got the explosiveness to escape pressure, extend plays, and even pick up some yards with his legs. He's not just a pocket passer.
And you can't teach leadership, right? From what I've heard, Pittman has that in spades led Arkansas to some big wins, always seems to have that cool head under pressure.
That's right. You can teach mechanics, you can teach strategy, but true leadership, that innate ability to rally a team, that's something special.
Yeah.
And that's why teams like the Jets, Saints, and Seahawks are so high on him. They're desperate for a franchise quarterback. Someone to build around Pittman could be that guy.
He could be the answer to a lot of prayers for those franchises. But it's early, right?
Yeah.
Draft night is full of surprises. Who knows where he'll actually land? Speaking of interesting journeys to the draft, let's talk about Eric Parra, the quarterback out of Liberty.
Okay.
He's a bit older, right?
28 to be exact. Definitely an unconventional path for a rookie. But before we even get into his football skills, we have to talk about his background.
Okay.
8 years of military service. Imagine the discipline, the leadership that experience instills in a person.
That's something you can't replicate in any training camp.
No.
8 years in the military. That's some serious grit.
Exactly. And you see that translate to the field. This guy's got a strong arm, makes smart decisions under pressure. His pro day numbers were solid, especially his vertical and broad jumps. Showcases some real explosiveness, even at his age. And his coach at Liberty raves about his leadership. Called him a general on the field.
A general leading the offense. That's a scary thought for opposing defenses.
It is, but let's address the elephant in the room. The age, some teams might be hesitant to draft a quarterback who's already 28. It's just not the norm.
It's definitely a conversation starter, but you mentioned his leadership, his maturity.
Right.
Those qualities could be invaluable, especially for a team looking to groom a young quarterback, right?
You're absolutely right. Imagine him as a high-quality backup, someone who can not only step in if needed, but also mentor the younger guys, be a true leader in the quarterback room. That kind of experience is priceless. And think about it this way. Parra's only been playing quarterback for a relatively short time.
Oh, wow.
There's still potential for him to grow and develop. Teams like the Jets, Seahawks, and Saints have shown interest. They might see him as more than just a backup, someone who could potentially start down the line.
So Parra brings a unique set of skills and experiences to the table.
Sure.
He's definitely a wild card in this draft. Okay, let's shift gears here and talk about a player whose speed is turning heads.
Right.
Jerry Haywood, the cornerback out of Oklahoma. Ava, this guy can flat out fly, right?
You saw that combine tape, right?
Oh, yeah.
4.39 40-yard dash, 5th fastest among all cornerbacks, and it's not just straight line speed. Marcus, his change of direction, elite receivers just can't shake him.
And he's got a track background, right? So all that speed agility is just natural for him. He's got that rare combination of athleticism and technique.
And the scouting reports reflect that A grades in man coverage and press coverage teams that are desperate for a shutdown corner, someone who can lock down the opposing team's best receiver, they'll be all over him.
So he sounds like the complete package, but there's always room for improvement, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything that stands out as a potential weakness?
The one area where he could improve is his ball skills. He's got the speed and the coverage ability, but sometimes he struggles to locate the ball in the air. He got a C grade in catching, which is a bit concerning.
So the big question for our listeners out there is, can Jerry Haywood develop those ball skills with good coaching? Because if he can become a true ball hawk, that's a scary thought for any quarterback.
Absolutely. With his speed and coverage skills alone, he's going to be a nightmare for opposing receivers. But if he can improve his ability to make plays on the ball, he could become one of the best in the league. Teams like the Steelers, Jaguars, and Falcons, they all need help in the secondary. They might be willing to bet on Haywood's potential.
Yeah, those teams could definitely use a lockdown corner like him. All right, let's move to the other side of the ball and talk about a guy who's giving quarterbacks nightmares. Daniel Quinn, the edge rusher from Florida now, Ava. This guy's a beast, right?
He's a force of nature, Marcus. 31 sacks and 50 tackles for loss in college? That's ridiculous.
Wow.
And he's got this relentless motor, never gives up on a play. Combine that with his power and those pass rushing moves. It's no wonder quarterbacks are scared of him.
I've heard those pass rushing moves are something else that makes him so effective.
He's got this spin move that leaves offensive linemen grasping at air, and then he'll counter with an arm over move that's just as deadly. Plus, he's got the speed to get around the edge and the strength to bull rush right through you. He's a nightmare to block.
And those combine numbers back it up. 4.68, 40-yard dash, 29 bench press reps. That's a scary combination of speed and strength.
He's what they call a speed rusher, but he's more than that. He's got the power to be a complete three-down player. And on top of all that, he's got great field awareness, always seems to know where the ball is and how to get to it.
Sounds like he's got it all.
Sure.
But every player has weaknesses, right? What does he need to work on?
Well, his coverage skills could use some work. He's at his best when he's getting after the quarterback, not dropping back into coverage. So teams drafting him will need to keep that in mind. But let's be honest, he's going to spend most of his time terrorizing quarterbacks, not covering receivers.
Fair enough. So who are some of the teams that might be looking to draft him?
The Packers, Colts, and Raiders have all shown interest. They could all use a dominant edge rusher like Quinn to bolster their defenses.
All right, we've got one more prospect to break down, and this guy is a mountain of a man. Andrew Stevens, the left tackle from LSU. Ava, this guy is huge, like seriously huge.
6'4", 316 pounds.
Good Lord.
He's got the size you want in a left tackle, no doubt about that. But what really sets him apart is his athleticism. He's surprisingly agile for a guy his size, elite agility, great acceleration.
Wow.
Not something you usually see in a lineman.
It's like watching a tank with a sports car engine.
And that athleticism translates directly to his run blocking skills. A grades in both run block finesse and power. He's perfect for teams that love to run the ball and utilize pulling schemes where the lineman has to move quickly and get to the second level.
He sounds like a dream for any running back, but there have to be some concerns, right? A guy that size,
Yeah.
It's tough to stay healthy.
Right. Durability is a concern. He's got a CF injury grade, which is a red flag for teams, and he's had some issues with penalties in the past. So the big question mark is, will Stevens' potential outweigh the risks?
It's a gamble, for sure,
Mm-hmm.
but the payoff could be huge.
Exactly. Teams like the 49ers and Browns, who rely heavily on the run game, might be willing to take that gamble, but they'll need to work with him on his discipline and hope that he can stay healthy.
It really is a deep draft class, Ava. You know,
Okay.
It's easy to get caught up in the hype of these top prospects, but what I find really intriguing are those hidden gems, you know, those diamonds in the rough who might emerge later in the draft.
I completely agree. There's always a few players who fly under the radar but end up making a big impact. It's what makes the draft so unpredictable and exciting.
You know, speaking of sleepers, Eric Parra's age could make him a steal for a team that's patient.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about his maturity and leadership, but how does that translate to on-field decision-making?
It's fascinating, Marcus. When you watch his film, you see a quarterback who's not easily rattled. He doesn't panic under pressure. He goes through his progressions, makes quick, decisive reads, and delivers the ball with confidence. It's almost like he's seen it all before, which, in a way, he has given his military background.
So it's more than just intangibles. It's about processing information, quickly making the right reads, and executing under pressure.
Exactly. And those are qualities that are hard to teach you. You either have them or you don't. And Parra seems to have them in abundance.
Now, you mentioned his coach calling him a general on the field. What are some specific examples that showcase those leadership qualities?
Well, there was this one game against Coastal Carolina last season, a real nail-biter. Liberty was down by 6 points with less than 2 minutes left. Parra drove them down the field, completing clutch pass after clutch pass. But what really stood out was his demeanor in the huddle. He was calm, collected, and he instilled that same confidence of his teammates. They believed in him, and he delivered, ended up throwing the game-winning touchdown with just seconds left on the clock.
Man, that's the stuff you dream of as a quarterback, to have that kind of poise and leadership in a pressure situation. That's what separates the good from the great.
Right, and those are the moments that make you believe he can overcome the age factor. He might not have the typical rookie timeline, but he's got the intangibles and the talent to make an impact in this league.
It's going to be really interesting to see where he lands and how he develops. All right, let's get back to some of these other prospects. We talked about Jerry Haywood's speed and coverage ability, but what about his physicality? Can he hold his own against bigger receivers?
That's a great question, Marcus, and it's something teams will definitely be evaluating. He's not the biggest corner, but he's not afraid to get physical. He's got a surprising amount of strength for his size, and he uses it to his advantage in press coverage. He can jam receivers at the line, disrupt their routes, and make it tough for them to get off the snap clean.
So he's not just a speedster. He's got that dog in him, that willingness to get physical and battle for every inch.
Absolutely, and that's what you need in today's NFL. Receivers are bigger, faster, and stronger than ever before. You can't just rely on speed alone. You have to be able to match their physicality.
Makes sense. Yeah, you mentioned he needs to work on his ball skills. Do you think that's something that can be improved with coaching, or is it more of a natural instinct?
I think it's a bit of both. Some guys just have a knack for finding the ball, for making those interceptions, but I do believe it's a skill that can be developed with good coaching and practice. It's about reading the quarterback's eyes, anticipating the throw, and getting your head around to find the ball. It's not easy, but it's something Haywood can improve on.
So teams drafting him will be looking for a cornerback who can shut down receivers and create turnovers. That's the ideal scenario. But even if he doesn't become a ball hawk, his speed and coverage ability alone will make him a valuable asset.
No doubt about it. He's going to make life difficult for a lot of receivers in this league.
Okay, let's talk about Daniel Quinn, the edge rusher from Florida.
Yeah.
You called him a force of nature. What is it about his game that makes him such a dominant pass rusher?
It's a combination of things. Marcus, first, he's got an incredible first step. He explodes off the line of scrimmage and gets to the quarterback in a hurry. Second, he's got a relentless motor. He never gives up on a play. And third, he's got a diverse set of pass rushing moves. He can beat you with speed, power, or technique.
So he's not just a one-trick pony. He's got the whole arsenal.
Right, and that's what makes him so difficult to block offensive linemen. Never know what he's going to do next. He can bull rush you one play, spin move you the next, and then use his speed to get around the edge on the following play. It's a constant guessing game for the blocker.
Sounds exhausting just trying to block him.
It is, and that's what you want from your edge rushers. You want them to be disruptive, to create havoc in the backfield, and to make the quarterback uncomfortable, and Quinn does all of those things at a high level.
Now, you mentioned his coverage skills are a bit of a weakness. Is that a major concern for teams, or is it something that can be overlooked given his pass rushing prowess?
It's definitely something teams will consider, but let's be honest, he's not going to be drafted to drop back into coverage. He's going to be drafted to get after the quarterback, and he does that better than almost anyone in this draft class.
So it's about maximizing his strengths and minimizing his weaknesses.
Exactly. Teams will find ways to scheme around his coverage limitations. They'll use him in situations where he can be most effective, which is rushing the passer.
All right, let's wrap things up with Andrew Stevens, the left tackle from LSU.
Yeah.
You talked about his size and athleticism, but what about his technique? Is he raw, or does he have a refined skill set?
He's a bit raw, Marcus. He relies heavily on his size and athleticism right now, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It means he has a lot of untapped potential with good coaching.
Yeah.
He can develop his technique and become a truly dominant left tackle.
So it's a project, but a project with a high ceiling.
Exactly. He's got all the physical tools you look for in a left tackle. Now it's just about refining his technique and learning the nuances of the position.
And you mentioned the durability concerns. Is there anything specific in his injury history that raises red flags?
Well, he missed a few games last season with an ankle injury, and there have been some whispers about a lingering knee issue, so teams will definitely want to do their due diligence and make sure he's healthy.
That's always a risk with bigger players. It's a tough position to play a lot of wear and tear on those joints.
It is, but if he can stay healthy, Andrew Stevens has the potential to be a cornerstone of an offensive line for years to come.
All right, Ava, we've covered a lot of ground tonight. We've talked about quarterbacks with different journeys, a speedster corner, a dominant pass rusher, and a massive left tackle. It's clear that this draft class is loaded with talent. And it's going to be fascinating to see how it all shakes out tonight, Ava. Beyond the obvious talent and physical attributes, what I'm really interested in seeing is which of these players has that it factor, that intangible quality that separates the good from the great.
That's the million-dollar question, Marcus. It's something you can't always measure in combine drills or scouting reports. It's about leadership, work ethic, mental toughness, the ability to rise to the occasion when the pressure is on.
It's that fire in their eyes, that unwavering belief in themselves and their ability to succeed. It's what makes them special.
Exactly.
They think about some of the all-time greats, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Serena Williams. They all have that it factor. It's what drove them to be the best. And it's something that can elevate a player from being just talented to being truly legendary.
So as you're watching the draft tonight, think about that. Beyond the stats and the measurables, try to get a sense of who these players are as individuals, what drives them, what makes them tick, because those intangible qualities can make all the difference.
And remember, the draft is just the beginning. It's a long road to success in the NFL. These players are going to face challenges, setbacks, adversity, but it's how they respond to those challenges that will ultimately define their careers.
So for all you fans out there getting ready to watch the draft, here's something to consider. If you were a GM tonight, which of these players would you build your franchise around? Who do you think has the potential to be a true game changer? A future Hall of Famer? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget, this is just the first round. There's still a lot of talent to be found in the later rounds. Keep your eyes peeled for those hidden gems. We'll be back tomorrow to break down all the picks and analyze what it all means for the upcoming season.
That's right. We'll be here all weekend, folks, dissecting the draft, sharing insights, and getting you hyped for season 31. Until then, enjoy the draft, and remember, every pick has the potential to change a franchise forever. Thanks for tuning in to the 2K Online Franchise Radio Network. Have a great day, everyone.
This has been a presentation of the 2K Online Radio Network. For more information, visit our website at 2kolf.com.